I am the God that healeth thee. I am the Lord, your healer. I sent my word and I healed your disease. I am the Lord, your healer. The amazing power of worship. Healings take place during worship. Stay tuned. I got a story to tell where God healed me simply by worshiping Him. So, this is episode 3, the amazing power of worship. Look, in Isaiah 61:3, this is the New King James Version. To console those who mourn in Zion, to give them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they may be called trees of righteousness, the planting of the Lord, that He may be glorified. So in the spirit of heaviness, put on the garment of praise. I do it every single morning, and it's powerful. The Holy Spirit will meet you in your worship. These are 4 points. Worship is where battles are won. Worship is where miracles take place. Fear, depression, anxieties, all of these spirits that try to take over and mess with you, those things have to flee during worship. They can't hang around, I promise you. And not only that, God desires worshipers. So after your morning prayers, go into worship. The Lord will meet you there. I have a story that this example it highlights this example. So I used to run sound for my uncle at his church, and I had a L5 fracture in my back for a long time, and I was on pain medicine, and I sat back there all the time, and even during the service I would pray, Lord, take this pain away. The pain medicine didn't even really do anything. It was a large fracture. The doctor literally told me that if I picked anything up, bending over, I could be paralyzed. So I prayed all the time for it, and I believe God answers prayers. But I think that He was showing me something in this specific time and in this area of my life. So while I was sitting back there running the sound, they were all up there worshiping, and I decided to just go up there. I felt this pull to go up there and worship. And I went up there, and of course the power of God just fell on me, and I started worshiping. And within a few minutes into worshiping, when all my focus was on the Lord, the pain in my back went away, and I noticed it immediately. So I just kept worshiping, thinking in my mind a little bit while I was worshiping that this is awesome, the pain is gone. So then after service, the pain still wasn't there. And days went by, and I still didn't have any pain. And then later I went to another doctor. This was a different one, and told him that I needed x-rays of my back because I had this L5 fracture. And I showed him the x-rays, and he took x-rays of my back, and then he came back in, and it took him a while to believe that it was the same x-rays, or the x-rays were of my back, because he said there is no sign of those type of fractures, not even that he couldn't even see evidence of it. So the healing was complete. It was complete restoration, and it was all during worship. And especially today, we're talking about the spirit of heaviness is all over everyone today. I hear so many stories of people that are dealing with anxieties and fears. Later in my career, I developed PTSD and ended up having to get out of law enforcement. I was in law enforcement. And it was basically, it's just depression and fear that takes over. And I was on all types of medicines for that. This is another incident aside from the back. And I didn't know how to defeat that. I prayed over it all the time. The medicines didn't do anything but treat the symptoms. And so I started worshiping. And there's a whole teaching on the spirit of fear and depression and anxieties. But what I'm talking about here is worship. So to defeat that, I went into worship constantly, and I overcome that through the Holy Spirit and through my worship. So now today, on my way to work every single morning, I go into prayer, and then almost right after my prayer, I just start going into worship. And by the time I get to work, I just feel the presence of God all over me throughout the day, because I spend all of that time in worship. And then throughout the day, I'll even go into segments of worship. The song I just sang in the opening, I sing that a lot, because we all have ailments and aches and pains, and we'll get colds and sicknesses. And I just constantly sing that. You are the God that healeth me. It's an awesome song. And the Lord always comes down and meets me there. Theologians, there are a lot of theologians who believe that a third of heaven that fell were the worshipers of heaven. And Lucifer was like in charge of the worship and stuff. So, and of course that's a whole teaching. But he was in charge of the worshipers. So when the worshipers fell, there was no worshipers left in heaven. We're the worshipers that God seeks. So spend some time in worship and see what he'll do. I love you guys. Have a great day. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe so I can get my teachings out there. This is something I believe the Lord's calling me to do. And spend some time in worship. You won't regret it. I love y'all. Have a good day.